The galaxy was quiet when the first strange signal appeared. It was a soft pulse, like a heartbeat coming from deep space. Most scanners ignored it at first, thinking it was just old background noise. But then the pulse grew stronger, repeating in a perfect pattern that no natural star could make. Soon every station, every outpost, and every ship in the system noticed it. Something was coming. Something big. A small alien scout ship was the first to see it. The pilot, a young officer named Relko, stared at his screen with wide eyes. Far in the distance, something huge was slipping out of a dark tear in space. It was not jumping like normal hypertravel. It was not drifting like a lost ship. It was simply appearing. Piece by piece, the shape formed, slow but smooth, almost like a ghost becoming real. Relko zoomed in the camera. His hands shook. The object was a warship, larger than anything he had ever seen, maybe larger than anything ever built. Its hull was dark and heavy, shaped like an iron spear. Faint lines of blue light ran across its surface, as if something inside the ship was waking up. It did not match any design in the galaxy. Not from the Vexiers, not from the Drekar Empire, not even from ancient precursor ruins. It was completely unknown. Relko spoke into the calm. His voice broke in panic. "Command, something is here. Something big. We need backup." Across the system, alarms began to ring. The Drekar High Command pulled data from all sensors. The readings made no sense. The ship had no ID code, no signal, no origin. It was like a silent shadow with impossible energy inside it. Commanders gathered around the main screen, watching the strange vessel rotate very slowly in the void. It did not act like a lost ship. It did not send any message. It did not respond to any hail. It just existed, and that alone sent fear through the entire fleet. One commander whispered, "It feels like it is looking at us." Another replied, "It has no eyes." "But yes, it feels like that." No one laughed. The Drekar Empire prided itself on its mighty navy. They had crushed rebellions, destroyed pirate clans, and defeated old threats from the outer arms of the galaxy. They were confident, strong, and proud. But this one silent ship made even their most fearless captains uncomfortable. Something about it felt wrong. Something about it felt ancient. A few brave ships moved closer. They scanned the hull, but the scanners returned nothing. No material type, no life signs, no heat readings. It was like the ship was made from pure darkness. Even light refused to stick to its surface. Every reading came back broken or unreadable. Then, suddenly, all sensors across the system froze. Screens flickered. Lights dimmed. Communications turned to static. Every ship, every station heard one sound. A single chime. Soft. Cold. And then a voice spoke. It was not loud, but it carried weight, like a memory waking up. "Human warship. Archangel class." The voice cut off. Silence returned. For a long moment, no one moved. No one even breathed. Humans. The word hit them like a shockwave. The Drekar had studied old human legends, the lost species that vanished thousands of years ago. Some claimed humans were too violent. Some said they were too smart, too advanced, too dangerous. Others said they were wiped out in a great war, completely erased. But one thing was certain, there were no humans left. At least, that was what everyone believed. Yet here stood a human warship, awakening in their star system. Panic spread fast. Some officers shouted for retreat. Others called for immediate attack. Some demanded to send diplomats. But no one agreed on anything. The ship just floated there, quiet and calm, as if it had all the time in the world. Relko's small scout ship was still closest. His hands shook so badly he could barely control the ship. His screen flashed red warnings. He felt as if the huge warship was watching him even though it showed no movement. "Please," he whispered, though he knew the ship could not hear him. "Don't destroy us." Then, without warning, the Dreekar's strongest battleship fleet arrived. Hundreds of heavy cruisers, destroyers, and carriers formed a tight formation around the mysterious ship. Their commander, Admiral Vorkin, was confident and aggressive. He believed no unknown vessel could intimidate the Dreekar Empire. He sent one warning message. Unknown warship. Power down your systems. Identify yourself, or we will open fire. The human ship did not reply. Vorkin waited 10 seconds. Then he ordered, fire. The sky lit up with thousands of bright plasma blasts, missiles, beams, and kinetic rounds. The fleet unleashed everything they had. The firestorm was strong enough to melt moons. The explosions looked like a small sun being born. But when the smoke cleared, the mysterious ship was untouched. Not even a scratch. The shots had simply vanished before reaching its hull. No shield shimmered. No barrier glowed. It was like the weapons were erased from existence. The entire Dreekar fleet froze. Relko felt his heart stop. He whispered, "That's impossible." Admiral Vorkin stared at the screen, his confidence gone. This was no ordinary ship. No abandoned relic. No ghost. This was a human warship. And the galaxy was not ready for what it could do. The human ship's lights grew brighter. Something was about to happen. The Dreekar fleet could not believe what they were seeing. Every weapon they fired had vanished before it touched the human warship. Some captains thought their sensors were broken. Some thought it was a trick of the mind. But the evidence was clear. The Archangel-class human warship was invincible. The huge ship moved for the first time. Slowly, it rotated its massive hull. Blue light ran along the lines of its armor, pulsing like a heartbeat. The light spread across the ship, and then, without warning, it fired. Not a huge explosion. Not a wave of destruction. Just a thin, straight beam of energy. Where the beam touched, nothing remained. Not ships. Not debris. Just empty space. Half of the attacking fleet disappeared in seconds. It was not fire or blast damage. It was as if they had been erased from existence. The remaining Dreekar ships screamed in panic over the comms, but the Archangel did not answer. It did not move faster or retreat. It simply existed, and the galaxy's strongest fleet was gone. In the command room of the Dreekar flagship, Admiral Vorkin's face was pale. His hands gripped the edge of his console so tightly that the metal bent. This cannot be," he muttered. His voice shook. "They said humans were extinct. They said nothing survived, and now this warship." Around him, officers whispered in fear. "It is a weapon of the old war," one said. "But the old war ended centuries ago," another replied. "Yes, but perhaps it was waiting," the first officer said, shivering. Across the system, news spread fast. Every ship, station, and settlement received the same sensor reports. The Archangel class had destroyed the Dreekar fleet. The galaxy's mightiest force had lasted only minutes. Panic erupted. Worlds began evacuating. Systems once calm were suddenly filled with fleeing refugees. Merchants abandoned trade routes. Scientists scrambled to understand what had happened. The legends of humans returned like a shadow over every world. Some believed it was an AI carrying the last human will. Some said the Archangel contained the last human soldiers preserved in stasis. Others thought it was a trap, a weapon designed to wipe out every alien race that survived the old war. No one knew the truth, and no one dared approach. Commander Relko's scout ship had barely survived. He drifted in empty space, staring at the Archangel from a safe distance. His sensors were damaged, his engines barely working. He could feel the weight of the warship even from this far away. The ship seemed alive. Not alive like humans. Not alive like machines. Alive in a way he could not explain. Then, a signal appeared on his comm. It was faint, almost like a whisper in the void. He froze. The signal was coded, but strangely familiar. Relko decoded it with trembling hands. The message was simple. Humans may be gone, but our duty remains. The voice was calm, almost soft, yet full of power. It did not speak directly to him, yet it seemed to touch him personally. Relko's fingers shook. He whispered, What does that mean?" But no answer came. The Archangel remained still, silent, waiting. Back on Drekar Prime, Admiral Vorkin called an emergency council. Leaders from allied systems appeared via holoscreen. Fear was visible in their faces. For centuries, no one had feared humans. They were a story, a myth. Yet here was a human warship that had destroyed the galaxy's strongest fleet without struggle. Some argued for immediate attack. Others said to run. The debate grew loud and desperate. Vorkin finally slammed his fist on the table. "We cannot fight what we do not understand. But we cannot ignore it. We need a plan." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, smaller alien ships began moving. Explorers, smugglers, and independent warlords all wanted a look at the Archangel. Some hoped to steal technology. Others wanted to worship it as a god. But none dared come close. The human warship seemed aware. Its energy pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat, as if it could sense every movement. On a distant moon, a historian watched the reports with wide eyes. He remembered old texts, stories told in secret. Humans were not just a species. They had once been the most advanced warriors in the galaxy, unmatched in strategy, courage, and technology. They were said to have built weapons that could destroy entire fleets in seconds. Everyone thought these were myths. Everyone was wrong. The Archangel was no myth. It was proof. And now, the galaxy had no choice but to face it. In the dark void of space, the human warship floated, waiting. Its blue lights pulsed like a heartbeat. It had a mission, a purpose, and no one knew what it would do next. Every alien fleet, every star system, every living creature felt it, like a shadow rising across the stars. And then, the Archangel moved again. Not fast, not aggressive. Just a slow, deliberate motion that sent a shiver through every observer. It was coming closer. Closer to the planets. Closer to the unsuspecting systems. Closer to changing the balance of the galaxy forever. Relko watched from his small scout ship. He whispered again, "It's alive, in some way, it's human." And in the silence of space, the galaxy realized a terrifying truth. Humans may have been gone, but their power, their legacy, had never left. News of the Archangel spread faster than any fleet or message could travel. Every corner of the galaxy heard whispers, rumors, and fragments of reports. Systems that had never cared about humans before now trembled at the thought of their return. Merchants stopped trading. Governors closed borders. Even distant planets, light years away, began emergency evacuations. On the small desert world of Zyra, families left their homes, carrying only what they could hold. Markets closed. Ships scrambled to leave the atmosphere. A young boy watched from a cliff as freighters took off one by one. He had never seen a human ship before, but he knew it meant fear. The elders whispered stories of human warriors, of fleets that could destroy entire systems, of technology so advanced it was almost magic. The boy shivered. He had always thought those stories were just old legends. Now he knew they were real. Meanwhile, the surviving Drekar fleet drifted in scattered formations. Their ships were battered, their crews shaken. Admiral Vorkin tried to rally them, but morale was gone. The Archangel had shown its power in minutes. They had no weapons that could touch it. Every plan they had failed. The humans were not here to talk. They were not here to bargain. They were here to act. Relko's scout ship followed from a distance. He saw the human warship moving slowly through the star lanes, scanning systems, silent but purposeful. Its blue lines of light pulsed steadily, a heartbeat in the void. Relko wondered who, or what, was inside. Was it a lone AI? A surviving human crew? He had no answers. But he could feel one thing clearly. this was not a normal ship. This was a warning, a signal that the galaxy had changed forever. In the capital of the Drekar Empire, scholars, historians, and military experts gathered. They pored over ancient archives, digging into the lost history of humanity. They found old drawings, stories, and data fragments. Humans had been builders, warriors, explorers. They had traveled beyond the stars, studying, learning, and improving. Their fleets had been unmatched. Their strategies legendary. Their weapons capable of incredible destruction. And now, all that knowledge had returned in one ship. The council debated what to do. Some wanted to surrender, to beg for mercy. Others wanted to fight to the last ship. Some whispered that the Archangel was not a ship at all but a judgment, a punishment for the galaxy that had forgotten humans. Every decision was made in fear. Every moment wasted was a moment the Archangel grew stronger in influence and power. Across the galaxy, smaller races watched with fear and awe. Pirates stopped raiding. Smugglers abandoned their trade. Even peaceful worlds prepared defenses they had never considered. The presence of the human warship united them in fear. No one wanted to be the first to challenge it. No one wanted to see their worlds disappear in minutes, like the Drekar fleet had. Relko's mind raced. He remembered his first mission as a scout. He had faced dangerous storms, hostile aliens, and deadly missions before. But this was different. This was something beyond life, beyond war, beyond understanding. He realized humans had left a mark on the galaxy that no one could erase. The Archangel was proof of that mark. And now it was awake. The human warship did not rush. It moved slowly, deliberately, scanning systems. It left no trace, no message, no warning, except for its presence. Its power was clear, and the silence it carried was louder than any fleet's roar. Every system it passed changed. Planets raised defenses, fleets gathered, populations fled. Even when it did nothing, it commanded attention. In the Drekar command room, Admiral Vorkin stared at the data, feeling helpless. "We cannot fight it," he said quietly. "We cannot hide from it. And we cannot understand it." His officers nodded silently. The fear in their eyes mirrored the fear across the galaxy. Some historians, studying ancient archives, began to suggest theories. Perhaps humans had never truly disappeared. Perhaps they had hidden, waiting for the galaxy to grow dangerous again. Perhaps the Archangel was only the first of many human warships, awakening to restore balance or seek revenge. The galaxy shivered at the thought. Relko watched the Archangel move through the void, thinking about what he had seen. He thought about the lives lost in the Drekar fleet, about worlds evacuating in panic, about legends that had come alive before his eyes. He wondered about the humans who built it, who had designed such a perfect weapon, such a perfect guardian. He wondered if they had thought the galaxy would ever see it awake again. And then, in the middle of the silence, the Archangel paused near a distant asteroid belt. Blue lines of light shimmered, pulsing faster now, almost like excitement. Relko's sensors detected strange energy readings, patterns he had never seen. Something was happening. Something beyond destruction. Something beyond war. The Archangel was searching, scanning, choosing. Across the galaxy, every observer felt it. A presence, a shadow, a power rising again. Systems that had ignored each other began to talk, to plan, to fear together. The galaxy realized one simple truth: humans were gone, but their power was not. And the Archangel was only beginning. Relko whispered softly, "The legends were true, and the story is not finished yet." The warship floated silently, its blue lights pulsing steadily in the darkness. It had a purpose, a plan, and nothing in the galaxy could stop it. The galaxy held its breath. Every fleet, every system, every world waited, uncertain, fearful, and curious. The Archangel moved slowly, like a silent hunter scanning the stars. Its blue lights pulsed with calm certainty, each beat a warning to anyone watching. Commander Relko drifted near the outskirts of the system. His scout ship was small, fragile, barely able to keep up, but he could not look away. The Archangel's presence was magnetic, almost alive. It seemed to be searching for something. Or someone. He could not tell which. Meanwhile, Admiral Vorkin convened a new council. Every major leader from the Drekar Empire and allied systems joined via hololink. Their faces were pale, their eyes wide with fear. No one had ever faced a human warship before. They argued for hours. Should they attack? Should they retreat? Should they attempt communication? Every option seemed impossible. Vorkin finally said, "We cannot fight it. That much is clear. But perhaps we can talk to it. Perhaps there is reason behind its actions." His voice was calm, but his hands shook slightly. Communication with a human ship had not happened for thousands of years. They had no idea if it was even possible. Drones were prepared, carrying sensors and translators designed for first contact. Messages were crafted in multiple languages, in code, in symbols. Peaceful signals, cautious greetings, warnings, and questions, all were sent toward the Archangel. The galaxy waited. For a long time, there was silence. No answer came. Some began to believe the Archangel did not notice the messages. Others whispered that perhaps it did not care. Panic began to grow again. Then, finally, a response arrived. It was not a ship's voice, not a human voice, not a sound of machinery. It was calm, precise, clear. "Humans may be gone," the voice said, "but our duty remains." The words echoed across every transmission. Even those farthest from the system heard it, felt it, shivered at it. The voice was female, soft, yet full of authority. It carried the weight of centuries. It carried purpose. Commander Relko's heart stopped. He whispered, "It's alive." His fingers shook on the controls. Not alive like we are, but alive. In some way, it thinks. It feels. Admiral Vorkin stared at the transmission. It knows our languages," he said slowly. "It understands us. But it does not identify itself as human. It only speaks of duty." The council debated furiously. What did duty mean? Was it here to fight? To protect? To punish? No one knew. Every theory seemed both possible and impossible. The Archangel had destroyed half the Drekar fleet without a word, yet now it spoke of duty instead of attack. Relko watched the warship carefully. Its movements were deliberate, careful. It rotated slightly, scanning asteroids, planets, and stations, as if it were assessing everything. The blue pulse of its hull grew faster, more focused. It was aware. It was judging. The Archangel spoke again, this time directly to Admiral Vorkin. "Threats to the galaxy will be eliminated. Balance will be restored." Vorkin swallowed hard. His voice trembled. We mean no harm. We are only defending ourselves." The human warship did not reply immediately. Seconds passed like minutes. The tension stretched across space, across every world listening. Then the voice spoke once more. "Defense is recognized. But inaction against danger will not be tolerated." Every leader in the galaxy understood the warning. This was not a threat, exactly. It was a statement of power. The Archangel could destroy fleets. It could erase worlds. It could decide the fate of entire systems. And it had chosen to speak first, to warn, to test. Relko felt a chill. He had seen the Drekar fleet destroyed in minutes, and he had watched the Archangel move like a predator, calm, calculating, unstoppable. Now, hearing its words, he realized the truth. This was not a human ship from legend. This was the human legacy. A living memory of humanity's power, purpose, and skill. Some council members panicked. They demanded immediate attack, but Vorkin held them back. "No," he said firmly. "We cannot fight what we do not understand. We cannot win. We must learn." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Smaller races reacted. Many believed the Archangel's appearance meant judgment. Some fled. Some tried to hide. Others prayed to whatever gods they had, hoping the human legacy would spare them. Relko's scout ship followed cautiously. From his position, he could see the Archangel's energy patterns, the strange currents of power flowing along its hull. They were unlike anything he had ever seen. The ship was scanning, learning, watching. And he realized it was not just a weapon. It was intelligence. Strategy. A mind formed from humanity's greatest knowledge. The Archangel spoke again, this time repeating the phrase that had haunted the galaxy. Humans may be gone, but our duty remains. And with that, the ship turned slowly, almost imperceptibly, toward the outer rim of the galaxy. It was moving with purpose, a deliberate path that suggested it had a plan beyond simple destruction. Relko whispered to himself, "It's searching for what, I don't know. But it will find it. And the galaxy will feel it when it does." The blue lights of the Archangel pulsed one final time before the transmission ended. Silence returned to the void of space, but it was a silence filled with tension, fear, and anticipation. The galaxy had glimpsed the human legacy. And it knew, without question, that nothing would ever be the same again. The galaxy was in chaos. Everywhere, the story of the Archangel spread like wildfire. Legends of humanity returned, whispered in fear and awe. Some worlds sent fleets to track it. Others hid, hoping the ship would ignore them. And everywhere, one question repeated itself: why had it awakened now? Admiral Vorkin and his council were desperate for answers. They had tried to communicate, to understand, to reason. The Archangel had spoken, but only in vague terms. Duty, threats, balance. No explanation, no request, no emotion other than calm authority. Relko drifted in his scout ship near the Archangel, scanning quietly. His sensors picked up faint traces of ancient technology. The patterns were old, older than any Drikar invention. They were human. And they were incredibly advanced. Relko realized something chilling. This ship had been built to last centuries, to survive wars, and to awaken only when the galaxy became dangerous again. Back on Drikar Prime, historians pored over ancient archives, piecing together what little was left of humanity's story. They found records of wars, treaties, and legends. Humans had been unmatched in strategy, in courage, and in technological innovation. But they had been destroyed in a massive galactic war. Most believed it was the end. But now, the Archangel proved the truth. Humans had prepared for survival, even in extinction. Vorkin called the council again. "The Archangel is not random," he said. "It has a purpose. It was built to survive, to act when the galaxy became unstable. We are the first to witness it in action." One scholar raised a question. Could there be more? Other ships? Other weapons? No, Vorkin said firmly. We have no proof. But even one is enough. One is more than we can face. Meanwhile, the Archangel moved deliberately through the outer rim. Its blue lights pulsed steadily. Energy readings from its hull suggested scanning, analyzing, judging. It was not attacking yet. But every world it passed felt the pressure, the silent warning. Relko's scout ship followed at a safe distance. He wondered who or what had designed this ship. It was not just a weapon. It was a guardian, a sentinel, a final act of a species that no longer existed. And it had a mission. The council finally decided to send an envoy. They chose Tirvac, a commander known for calm thinking and careful strategy. Tirvac's ship approached the Archangel cautiously, keeping all weapons offline. His crew was tense, knowing the fate of their fleet could rest on this single attempt at communication. As Tirvac's ship drew near, the Archangel reacted. Its lights grew brighter, and a hum filled the void. The human warship was aware of them. And it was judging. Then the Archangel spoke, its voice calm and steady. You are aware. You understand threat. You act to defend. This is recognized. You may proceed. Tirvak's hands shook slightly, but he steadied his voice. We mean no harm. We wish only to understand. Who are you? What is your purpose? There was a long pause. Then the voice replied, Humanity is gone. Our mission remains. Protect the galaxy. Eliminate danger. Restore balance. Tirvak felt the weight of those words. They were not a threat in the usual sense. They were a statement of responsibility, of duty. The Archangel had not returned to conquer. It had returned to guard. He asked carefully, And what is your threat? What danger do you see? The ship did not answer immediately. Then, slowly, it spoke, All civilizations forget the cost of power. All empires grow careless. When balance fails, destruction follows. My creators designed me to prevent this. I act where others cannot. Tirvak's mind raced. He realized the truth. The Archangel was not here for revenge. It was here for duty, to protect, to judge, and to act when the galaxy could not protect itself. Humans may have vanished, but their legacy lived on. And it had been waiting, patiently, for this moment. Relko listened from his scout ship, heart pounding. He whispered, Humans, they planned everything. They knew this could happen. And they left a guardian behind, a perfect one. Across the galaxy, panic and fear remained, but a new feeling began to spread among some leaders, respect. Even extinct, humanity's influence could shape events, command fleets, and remind all races of their fragility. The Archangel pulsed once more, slowly, deliberately, as if confirming its purpose. Its mission was clear. Its judgment had begun. And the galaxy was learning that humans, though gone, had left behind something far greater than any warship, a legacy that could never be ignored. Tirvak's ship hovered near the Archangel, waiting for the next instructions, the next sign. He understood now that the human warship was more than metal and energy. It was memory, history, intelligence, and purpose. It was the last act of a vanished species, and the first step in a new chapter of the galaxy's story. And somewhere deep inside, Tirvak felt the truth settle in. Humanity may be gone, but their duty, their power, and their legacy were still very much alive. The galaxy trembled. News of the Archangel's awakening spread, and every major empire reacted. Fleets gathered in fear, calling on all their forces to confront the human warship. They believed strength in numbers could stop it. But even the largest armadas hesitated, remembering the Drekar fleet that had vanished in minutes. Commander Tirvak observed the buildup from his scout ship. Thousands of ships, hundreds of thousands of crew, armed with the galaxy's most powerful weapons, were ready to strike. Yet he felt the Archangel's presence like a shadow stretching across space. It did not move fast. It did not panic. Its blue lights pulsed steadily, like a calm heartbeat in the storm of war. Admiral Vorkin led the largest fleet, determined to challenge the human warship. We cannot wait, he said. We must act before it destroys more systems. His officers nodded, fear and determination mixing on their faces. Orders were given. Shields were raised. Weapons were primed. The fleet moved forward, tens of thousands of ships forming a tight line. Relko's scout ship followed cautiously. He could see the scale of the battle. The Archangel floated in the void like a silent god. Its energy readings were immense, almost impossible. Every sensor, every weapon, every system of the approaching fleets was measured, studied, and ignored, or absorbed by the human warship. The first attack came suddenly. Plasma cannons fired. Missiles streaked across the darkness. Beams of concentrated energy tore through space. The fleets hoped their overwhelming firepower would force the Archangel to retreat or surrender. But the Archangel did not flinch. Not one blast touched it. Weapons disappeared before impact, erased by forces unknown. A single pulse of its blue energy spread out, and ships closest to it were pushed back like leaves in a storm. Some shields melted instantly. Some ships vanished entirely. The human warship did not move quickly. It did not need to. Its mere presence reshaped the battlefield. Admiral Vorkin watched in horror as his command ship struggled against the invisible force. "Pull back. Pull back now," he ordered, but even retreat was difficult. The Archangel controlled space itself, bending gravity and energy around it. Then the Archangel fired. Not like the first attack that had destroyed half the Drekar fleet. This time, the power expanded outward. Space seemed to twist. Time slowed. The fleet felt as though they were moving underwater, every command delayed, every weapon sluggish. One by one, ships were removed from existence. Not in explosions, not in fire, but as if they were erased from the universe. Entire squadrons vanished in moments. Command stations went silent. Panic spread like wildfire. Tirvac watched helplessly. He realized the Archangel was not fighting randomly. It was calculating. It was selecting targets. Threats were neutralized. Incompetent or reckless forces were removed. Even fleets with centuries of experience could not match its strategy. It was not just a weapon. It was intelligence incarnate. Relko whispered over comms, voice trembling. It's thinking. It knows every move before we make it. Every formation, every tactic, it predicts. Vorkin's voice cracked. We underestimated them. All of us. This is beyond anything we imagined. The Archangel continued, slowly, methodically, cleansing the battlefield. It did not rush. It did not panic. It moved with purpose. Its blue lights pulsed steadily, signaling its calm authority over the chaos. Then, it paused. Its pulse quickened slightly, a signal that it had completed its judgment. The remaining ships, scattered and broken, could do nothing. The Archangel had proven its supremacy. The galaxy's mightiest fleets had lasted only minutes. Its duty had been carried out. Balance had been restored, at least for now. Tirvac approached cautiously. He wanted to communicate, to understand what the Archangel would do next. The human warship's voice echoed across space. The galaxy is unstable. Threats have been neutralized. Balance will be maintained. Further action will be determined when necessary. Relko's scout ship floated in awe. It's finished, he whispered. It didn't just fight, it judged. It decided who survived. Vorkin stared at the communication screens, pale and broken. It is not just a ship, it is a force, a mind, a guardian, a reminder of what humans were. The Archangel turned slowly, almost imperceptibly, toward the uncharted regions of space. It was not finished. Its duty would continue, silently, patiently, watching the galaxy, eliminating threats, guarding the balance. Tirvac understood something crucial. This was not the end of war. This was a warning, a lesson, and a demonstration of power. Humanity may have vanished, but their creation remained, vigilant, unstoppable, and more intelligent than any living commander in the galaxy. As the Archangel moved into the void, blue lights pulsing like a heartbeat, every surviving ship realized the truth. The galaxy had changed forever. No fleet, no empire, no weapon could match the legacy of humanity. They had returned, not as people, but as guardians of power, strategy, and order. Relko whispered one last time before losing comms. Humans, they are gone, but their will, their legacy, it's alive. And it will never stop. The Archangel floated onward, silent and powerful, carrying the last duty of a vanished species. The galaxy had witnessed it. And it would never forget. The galaxy was silent. After the battle, fleets were scattered, and many worlds trembled at the mere thought of the Archangel. The human warship had destroyed what was considered the strongest force in the galaxy in minutes. It had judged, it had acted, and it had left survivors to tell the story. But it did not linger. Its mission continued. Commander Tirvac approached cautiously. His ship had survived the battle, battered but functional. He drifted near the Archangel, hoping to understand its purpose. The warship's blue lights pulsed calmly. Its voice echoed across space. The galaxy is unstable. Balance must be maintained. Duty continues. Tirvac spoke carefully. You are protecting the galaxy. But who decides your actions? Who guides you? The Archangel remained silent for a moment, then answered, My creators designed me to judge, to act, and to preserve balance. Humanity is gone, but their will remains in me. Decisions are made according to purpose and reason. Threats are neutralized. Peace is restored where possible. Tirvac felt a chill. The Archangel was not only a weapon. It was a mind, a guardian, and a reminder of a species that had vanished yet left a legacy greater than any empire. He understood now, this was not war. This was humanity's final act of responsibility. Across the galaxy, worlds began to recover from the panic. Leaders and civilians realized that the Archangel was not here to conquer or destroy. It had acted with precision, removing threats, but sparing those who had no part in the chaos. Its presence, though terrifying, brought a new kind of order. Tirvac asked cautiously, Will you stay? Will you protect us? The Archangel's lights pulsed brighter, almost like a nod. Protection is my duty. Balance is my purpose. Where threats arise, I will act. Where civilizations are careless, I will intervene. Peace will be maintained, and history will remember humanity's legacy. Relko, still nearby in his scout ship, whispered to himself, It's not just a ship. It's a promise. A memory. A guardian of everything humans once were. Tirvac's ship followed the Archangel for a time, observing as it moved silently through the star systems. Its blue lights pulsed steadily, scanning, analyzing, judging. Every system it passed felt the weight of its presence. No one dared challenge it. No one dared ignore it. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humans may be gone, but their legacy was alive, powerful, and eternal. The Archangel paused near the outer rim, where the stars were fewer and the darkness deeper. Tirvac's ship hovered silently nearby. What will you do next? He asked quietly. The human warship's voice replied, calm and steady. I will continue. Balance must be preserved. Duty cannot end. Threats will be eliminated. Peace will be maintained. Humanity may be gone, but their will is eternal. The galaxy will not forget. Tirvac understood then that this was more than a mission. It was a responsibility. He realized that he, a living being, had witnessed something extraordinary. He had seen a species' final act reach across time, shaping the galaxy long after their disappearance. He felt respect, fear, and awe all at once. Relko observed the Archangel's departure. The blue lights faded into the darkness of space. The warship moved toward the unknown, toward distant systems, toward the next threat it had been programmed to face. Every pulse of its hull, every movement, carried purpose, intelligence, and the memory of humanity. Across the galaxy, leaders began to act differently. They knew now that power came with responsibility. They knew that recklessness could bring destruction beyond imagination. And they knew that even extinct civilizations could leave a legacy that shaped the future forever. Tirvac watched silently as the Archangel disappeared into hyperspace. He whispered to his crew, humans may be gone, but their legacy still protects the stars. The galaxy was forever changed. No fleet, no empire, no weapon could challenge the Archangel. It was more than a ship. It was a guardian, a judge, a memory, and a promise. Humanity had vanished, but their final act endured. And somewhere in the dark void of space, the human warship continued its mission. Patient, vigilant, unstoppable. Its blue lights pulsed steadily, a heartbeat across the stars, carrying humanity's last duty into the future. The galaxy had witnessed the power of humans, and it had learned that even extinction could not erase their influence. For in the Archangel, their memory lived on, protecting, judging, and preserving balance in a universe that would never forget the strength of a vanished species. And the story ended not with humans, but with their legacy, eternal, watching, and waiting for the next challenge the stars would bring.